9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Saturday night and this is the Saturday 5 Extra, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Dr Renee Hunderkamp, along with Will Kingston, Cressida Wetton, Tree Lowe and Benjamin Butterworth, who has just snuck back into the studio. Tonight on the show...
Who've sent you questions in for Ask the Five?
Is it up to the government to teach boys how to respect women, or up to parents?
Apparently swearing makes you work harder.
And guess who has the #1 record, Christmas record in the UK?
And we have more triggered tantrums, not just Renee at me.
But you love it. It's 8 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5 Extra. Welcome to the chaos of the Saturday 5 Extra. Now, of course, we want to know your views as well. You can send your views, post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/yoursay. And don't forget to get your questions in for Ask the Five. No topics are off limit. And put Ask the Five before them in the email so I can pick them out. But before we start tearing each other apart, it is your Saturday night news with Bethany Elsey.
Renee, thank you. Good evening. Your top stories at 8:01. Politicians in the US have criticised the latest release of files linked to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein over the level of censorship. Hundreds of thousands of heavily redacted documents have been released, but hundreds of pages were entirely blacked out. Michael Jackson, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, Bill Clinton and Diana Ross are all pictured, but there is no suggestion of any wrongdoing. The Deputy Attorney General says redactions are in place to protect victims and that more files are expected to be released by the end of the year. 700 small boat migrants have crossed the English Channel so far today as French police clashed with some migrants near Dunkirk. GB News can reveal officers fired tear gas into a large group of migrants as they attempted to launch a small boat from a river. The total number of migrants who've made the crossing so far this year is now more than 41,000. Talks are taking place between US and Kremlin officials in Florida aimed at ending Russia's war in Ukraine. President Vladimir Putin's special envoy is meeting with US envoy Steve Witkoff and Donald Trump's son, Jared Kushner, in Miami. The meeting follows talks between delegates from the US, Ukraine and Europe yesterday, which reported progress on security guarantees for Kiev, but it remains unclear if those terms will be accepted by Moscow. The US has launched large-scale military strikes against ISIS in Syria, hitting more than 70 targets. The action was in retaliation to an Islamic State ambush which killed 3 Americans last week. The White House says the strikes were carried out with the support of the Syrian government. The BBC says it won't be making any changes to its Christmas programmes involving David Walliams, who was dropped by his publisher yesterday. The writer and comedian strongly denies allegations of inappropriate behaviour, including harassing junior women at HarperCollins UK. It's reported a Boxing Day panel show and 2 TV adaptations of his books will continue to be broadcast. David Walliams, as I said, denies the allegations. Ferry passengers getting home or getting away for Christmas faced queues of up to an hour at the port of Dover after French border controls were hit with IT issues. The port is urging passengers not to arrive more than 2 hours before their sailing time while the issues are ongoing. It's expected to be the busiest year on record, as nearly 30,000 cars are due to embark on outbound sailings during the festive period. Traffic will peak between 6 a.m. and 1 p.m. tomorrow. And Prince George has visited a homeless shelter called The Passage in central London with his father for the first time. The shelter in Victoria is of huge significance to Prince William, as he was first taken there by his mother, Princess Diana, when he was a child. Prince George helped to make lunch for people being supported by the charity and spoke to others of their experience of homelessness. He also signed a visitor's book using the same page signed by William and his grandmother in 1993. Those are the latest headlines. I'll have more for you at 9 o'clock.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Welcome back, everybody. So this is the time where you get to have your say in Ask the Five. So, John says, can someone explain why Bill Clinton, who has come up numerous times in the Epstein files, has faced hardly any criticism, while Prince Andrew, who has appeared considerably less, has been completely cancelled? I find this quite interesting, actually, and I think at the moment the USA have got two scapegoats and they're both British. So it almost allows them to paint this picture that it's all over there in the UK. The bad men are over there. We were just, you know, hanging out with some rich people.
Well, I don't think Virginia Giuffre made any complaints about him, did she? She only complained about Andrew, and so you don't have to, it's not about volume, it's about what you did.
Yeah, I think that's the fundamental distinction, is that Prince Andrew was accused of having inappropriate sexual relations with a child. At the moment, there has not been a similar accusation made against Bill Clinton, although from everyone who's seen these photos come out in the last few days, it doesn't look good. I'm not making, and as I say, I'm not making any implication there, but on an optics level, it doesn't look good.
But also, it's about who has power right now. You know, if Bill Clinton were the president in the last couple of years, I suspect it would have been a very different story that people would have been telling about the accusations. But because Prince Andrew is, actually he's still something like 9th in line to the throne, but because he still had that title of prince until a couple of weeks ago, at the head of the most famous family in the world, I think that's why it felt like, well, actually, if he had done something bad, which he always denied, could he do it again because he's still got the power? And that makes people angry.
I mean, it is important to say that he denies all allegations, but on that basis of what you've just said, why are there no allegations coming out about Trump? He is the sitting president.
Well, there have been so many accusations and rumours. That's why, because originally he blocked these Epstein files being released, but there was such fury from the MAGA base in the US that eventually he had to let Congress approve it, and all the Republicans, bar one, voted to get rid of it. So to put it out, that is. So, you know, I think there was that fury, that the idea that he might have not been telling the truth because he was a friend of Epstein.
Do you not think that the Democrats would have leaked anything that they had in, which they've had all of this in their ownership for quite some time now? Do you not think they would have leaked it? That's all. I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm just saying, wouldn't they have leaked it?
Of course they would have. Absolutely, of course they would have.
I think they might not have, because I think potentially that would implicate
they have
all
had
of
it.
them.
This is it. Everybody's like, who's going to pull the trigger first?
All of them. I mean, you're seeing it's across the parties, isn't it? It's both Republicans, Democrats. They're all just going to come together and protect each other, really.
Maybe. OK, so now we have Zev. Zev says, after the recent attack at Bondi Beach, is it not time for Europe to open their eyes, follow Trump's lead and simply ban travel from Muslim countries? Well, you know my view, Zev, because I've spoken about it already today. Yes, from the countries that we know these atrocities are coming from.
Yeah, my view on immigration is very simple. I think if you come from a culturally compatible country and you'll be a net contributor to the economy, fantastic. If not, I don't see the business case for you being in the United Kingdom.
But it's obviously not going to happen in this country. I mean, the idea that Keir Starmer would do that with the people he's trying to impress at the moment, I mean, it just wouldn't happen in a million years. It could happen in 4 or 5 years, but not now.
Trey?
Obviously, you know I'm not going to be for this. I mean, come on, you're just going to tie everyone with the same brush. It makes no sense. And when Will talks about compatible countries, you look at Poland and Ukraine, neighbours, and they still don't like each other. I just don't think it makes any sense. I think deal with things on a case-by-case basis. People are innocent until they're proven guilty. You don't just ban whole countries.
You obviously can't deal with it on a case-by-case basis when you've got hundreds and thousands of people entering the country.
No, this is a essentially racist way to approach the question. You know, the idea that you would ban anyone bringing their work to Britain from Saudi Arabia, which is an incredibly rich country full of incredibly wealthy Saudis, much richer.
Are you saying they don't have rapists?
Any of us are. I'm sure they do have rapists, but it's about judging what is sensible and reasonable, and the idea that you would turn away, I suspect, hundreds of billions of investment from Saudi Arabia because a man from Pakistan or a man from Syria did an atrocity is not a reasonable answer to the question.
But we do have data now on different countries, don't we? And
But can I just point out, I'm actually wearing a wristband of the Syrian flag, country that I absolutely adore. Two of my friends, Benan and Kinan, who gave this to me, they love Britain more than many British people I know, and it's their dream in life to visit. They self-taught themselves English to fluent level. They have a better knowledge of the history of the royal family in our castles than I do. So the idea that you would ban anyone from a country like Syria, where there's such a diversity of people, is self-harming for us, because some of these migrants can be fantastically successful.
Sure.
Just quickly, I'd finish by saying more than half of the 20 richest people in Britain were not born in Britain.
True.
Sure. No one is saying that every immigrant from a Muslim country is necessarily going to be a threat to the society. It is a risk calculus. The fact of the matter is you've got to weigh up the relative risk to reward. Now, as Cressida was about to say, we now know that there is a significantly higher risk of sexual assault from immigrants who come from some countries relative to others. And you've got to, as a government, weigh up that risk when you make immigration policy.
How far would you take it then? A bit like what Benjamin just said. I mean, Saudi Arabia, we're looking at 9/11. How many of them were Saudi nationals? Would you also ban their money? Would you ban their investment? Or, no, your money's great, but we don't want to take your people. I mean, how far would you do it?
Well, you know how I feel. I feel we need a moratorium on...
You can also say how many sexual assaults is acceptable to have investment in the country, can't you? You can ask the same question.
I just think, like Benjamin said, I think it's got sort of this... I don't want to say racist, because everyone says, you're always race baiting, but it just has that undertone, isn't it? Some countries are bad, but other countries are great. It's just...
But there are some countries that are bad, and there are some countries that are great. That is a truism.
The specific countries that we're talking about, the specific culture.
Yeah, but they will all happen to look a certain way.
And also,
that's just coincidence, Trey. You do it every week.
Every week.
That's why I'm not going to go down that road again. I just think it's a silly policy because, I mean, how far are you going to take it? Like I say, you're going to all Middle East countries. I mean, how far do you do it?
Yeah, if you're banning countries, then, for example, would you ban persecuted Christians in Nigeria from coming to the UK because Nigeria has problems? Would you ban people from the Druze community, an ethnic and religious minority in Syria and Israel? Would you ban them? Because there are also Islamic...
But those people are not the persecutors. Yeah. They're being persecuted.
But that's my point. You're saying ban countries. You're not saying ban people with a demonstrable problem.
There could be some instances where it could be perceived to be unfair. Unfortunately, we're past the point of going like,
so you don't
caring
care about
people
persecuted Christians that are being beheaded in...
Of course,
He's talking about averages, isn't he? And some of the things that have happened in this country in the last couple of years and are happening now at a greater rate are completely unacceptable. They're huge to me if we're weighing up the risk.
If you look at some of that silly grooming gangs, half of them are British-born. What do you do then?
Yeah,
I'm going to stop you right there. Sam says, let's move on now. Can Wes Streeting be trusted to look after the NHS when he has taken over £200,000 in donations from private healthcare? Benjamin, this has to start with you.
Yeah, I think this accusation is just, nonsense, right? Unless you think that politicians should be funded and their campaigns should be funded through our tax money, then this is the only way it functions. And, clearly he is not privatising the NHS. That is not his politics. And so if they're spending money to try and get that outcome, it's a waste of money. You get this from these, hard left, hate any reform in the NHS types that will try and use it to attack Wes Streeting or other people. I think it's completely nonsense.
I hope he's compromised. I would love to see further privatisation of the NHS. I hope they've managed to get to him.
I think
NHS to be privatised.
I think he should be banned for agreeing to experiment with children who don't have a disease with drugs that are going to change their life.
Fair. I'll go with that. I mean, I agree with Will. I would love to see some serious change in the NHS. I've got no problem with paying something to get a proper service.
Yeah. Or just strengthening the private healthcare system so you actually have a stronger parallel private system, which is the case in Australia, for example.
Benjamin, I'm going to give the last word to you.
I think Wes Streeting should be Prime Minister.
Oh, hang on a minute. Earlier it was Ange.
Yeah, I mean, I think Angela Rayner will be Prime Minister if she runs for it.
Why do you think he's done such a good job?
I think he's competent, I think he's a communicator, I think he's pragmatic, and also I've known him since he's 18. He's exactly the same in real life as he is in Cabinet.
He'd be better than Starmer.
OK, now quickly, Lisa says, as a landlady, I've been hit big time by absurd new renters' rights rules from both the Conservative and Labour governments. This is my main source of income. All I have to live on. Where are my protections?
No protections. If you're an evil landlord, then that's your problem, isn't it? You're an evil land baron, you don't deserve it.
No, I'm so... Elisa was it, right? I'm so on her side. I think it's just getting worse and worse for hard-working people who invested in the property, whether it's for their pension or whatever it is. I think they're just being hit again and again and again. I think it's into
I'll ask Benjamin. He'll probably have a moan about old people. Go on.
Oh, don't tempt me. We've only got 45 minutes left. Look, I think an economy that is based on people investing in property, affecting supply and demand, so that prices go through the roof for everyone else.
God.
When you've got rents that went up 16% in 1 year in the capital city while wages are basically stagnant for years, it is ridiculous. It is an extractive economy where people that already have assets take the money of those that are actually going to work and then leave them without the money to come up with their own business idea, buy their own property so they can start a family.
Lots of them are not going to work,
It's
Benjamin.
a nightmare. I tell you who's not going to work, landlords. Laziest job in the world.
God,
and
that's absolute nonsense.
What
is
do
wrong
you do?
with people
Someone else
actually
is paying
investing?
your mortgage.
On that
Investment.
note, guys, thank you very much. Up next, Badenoch calls teaching boys about misogyny a distraction, blaming migrant crime instead. Should the government do this, or is it the parents' job to teach their children about misogyny?
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
I think it's just good, honest, humble food. And yeah, as people get away from the ultra-processed stuff and get back to their roots, and what's better than a good jacket potato?
Do you know what? Sales of jacket spuds have gone through the roof. The big potatoes at Waitrose. There's been a 178% increase in people looking at recipes. And I just think it's wholesome, it's affordable, it's comfortable, you know, it makes you feel good, it's back to basics. That, I think, at the moment, sums up the nation.
I think very much it being affordable as well, with the climate we're living in at the moment, it definitely helps knowing, you know, you're putting food on the table for a reasonable price, and people appreciate that. And it's good, honest food. You can feed your kids, and kids are seeing it on social media, and they're getting excited about it as well. So they're not like, you know, obviously everyone sees all the big brands, and now there's all these, you know, jacket potato people out there, and we're giving them something that's healthy, and they want to eat it. And I think the parents appreciate that.
And Ben, I've seen your videos. They queue around the block to get to you. If people are in the mood to cook a potato tonight, of course, we don't want to affect your sales. What is your sort of top of the pops spud recipe? Give it to us.
Oh, it's all about variety. It's picking the right potato is really important. Get a nice melody or a cara or culture or something like that. Nice and big. In the oven, if you can. Hour and 20, get a nice crispy skin on there. Loads of butter, loads of cheese, and a nice curry on top or something. That's my go-to.
Ooh. Now, that was a final little curveball there you threw at the last minute there, Ben.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday Five, everybody. Now, before we go to our next interview, which is going to be brilliant, I assure you, please get in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. Get your questions in for Ask the Five, and thank you so much for your messages so far. Yeah, would we have preferred Benjamin? This is from Joanna Lata, to have stayed in South Sudan.
Well, as much as I enjoyed being with the cows, and they wash in the urine of these cows in this tribe. So if you
I've seen these clips on the internet.
They are absolutely
What's
awesome.
going on?
I don't know what websites
really.
you're on, but it wasn't me. But no, that's the smell. If you were just wondering when you arrived, Cressida. But no, regrettably, I do actually have to pay for these trips, which is. You know, I will do anything for money, even the...
I did volunteer early that I might come with you in your next one, because I was quite blown away by your photos. They were amazing.
Where's Lord Ali when you need him?
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, so Conservative Minister Kemi Badenoch has dismissed the government's plan to teach schoolboys about respecting women, calling it a complete distraction. Speaking on social media and in comments quoted by The Telegraph, she argued that violence against women and girls is not driven by 11-year-old boys, but by some migrants from cultures that she claims do not respect women. Badenoch called for deporting foreign criminals and boosting police numbers, saying a few extra lessons in schools will not save the problem. Her remarks have sparked widespread controversy and criticism from opposition MPs. So I'm really pleased now to welcome, to discuss this with us, the executive head of St Thomas the Apostles School in London, Serge Kafai. I hope I pronounced that right, Serge.
Safai, yeah, but it's close enough.
Safai, OK. Welcome to the show. And I think the only place to start here with that kind of introduction is, do you feel that she's right, that this is not going to make difference to 11-year-old boys, or do you think there's a place for it?
No, she's right. Should go further. I don't know where we get this political class from. I could use more worse language, but what a bunch of dimwits, for goodness sake. The idea that you're going to cure this problem by lessons in the classroom. By whom, for goodness sake? You know, non-specialists are going to deal with this, are they? Oh, of course, they're going to train everybody, are they? Well, it takes about 3 years to train a teacher, so good luck with that one. But more importantly, once again, I've been around a long time, and it's amazing how sometimes society's problems ends up with some politicians saying, we're going to give them a few lessons in school. Well, this is something that is far more serious than a few lessons in school. And let's talk about the obvious that nobody ever talks about, especially politicians. How about parenting here?
Yeah.
You know, where the hell does that come in? Because in my view, kids always learn far better from actually things being modelled to them as opposed to taught to them. You know, let's show them the right way to behave. Never mind talk about it, let's show them. And the other elephant in the room, of course, is social media. We know that our children are now being faced with things that we never had. I certainly didn't, etc. And I think none of your panel have either. You know, it's damaging. But once again, who should control social media with the kids? I'm back to parents, aren't I?
Yeah.
You know, so.
But I mean, the pushback to that, Serge, would always be from the left. Well, that's all well and good, but some children have rubbish parents, and so we need to do this.
Fine, OK, tick a box if you like. But the other thing I haven't mentioned, of course, is how about, you know, our policing? Let's come down heavy on people that do this sort of thing. That in itself will send a message to 99% of children. This is wrong. You're going to get arrested and you're going to get put in prison. You know, we don't do that enough. All the trendy Wendy's want to forgive everybody all the time. Well, that's no way to bring up children. Children must know boundaries. They must know that they need to take responsibility for their actions, and they must know there are consequences. I am sick to the back teeth of society. You know, the justice system has completely broken down, especially the youth justice system. Well, I can honestly tell you, you know, children actually don't mind boundaries. They like to know where they are. They like to know that B will follow A. That's how I run my schools, and they work, believe it or not. And even the parents, most of them, get on board. Not all, because some people think their kids never do anything wrong, of course, you know. But let's think about the obvious here. Never mind politicians talking about children. Let's talk about the youth justice system. Let's talk about putting these blokes, and we're talking about men, let's put them where they belong, you know, in prison, and much, much earlier.
Serge, dramas like Adolescence will have you believe that there is this growing crisis amongst young boys when it comes to toxic masculinity. You're obviously a highly experienced educator. Over the course of your career, have you actually noticed a change in the way that young boys deal with and interact with girls?
No. And this adolescence business, I saw it. I despaired that someone taking this seriously. It's entertainment, for goodness sake, and especially the bits happening in school. That would never happen in any school. Simple as that. It was a load of nonsense. The fact that people are now taking lessons from this, how we need to run our schools and our children. So I haven't noticed. What I do notice, however, is, I think it's been mentioned already, is a downward spiral with poor parenting. I think adults have abdicated their responsibility on how we bring up children. They are children. Let's not forget that. And we are doing them down by giving them too many choices, by letting them make the wrong decisions. And when they do things wrong, we are not making it clear that they've done it wrong. I've had all sorts of incidents where I've perhaps been the most harsh person as their head teacher, and everyone else has let them off and wants to give them a cuddle and think I'm the bully, you know. And all I've done is made damn sure that they know that what they've done is unacceptable. There'll be consequences to it, and that's the way to bring up children, not in this fuzzy-wuzzy way where when they've done something wrong, they get a cuddle, then they think, well, actually, one thing, it's not my fault. I can blame somebody else, and maybe what I did wasn't that bad after all, so maybe I'll do it again. And then they wait till they get to 18 and we'll bang them up. And then who are we going to blame?
So, Serge, I watched Adolescence, and for the most part, it made my blood boil. Although I thought one thing was interesting when, like, spoiler alert, whoever hasn't seen it, when the kid's inside and he's dealing with that psychologist, the woman that comes to visit him, he gets progressively wound up, right? Because she's extremely irritating, and I would have got wound up under those circumstances. And my question is, if this goes ahead, do you think it's going to make the problem worse?
Well, all I can tell you, I've been in a few situations where that sort of thing has happened, where the problem in the room is not the child. The child is being confused. They're being told, oh, you know, can we think of a few reasons why you did this? Instead of, you've done this, this is wrong, full stop. And now you're going to deal with the consequences. And after they've been punished, etc., then maybe you can have this conversation and start picking it through. But we do it the wrong way around. And it confuses children and it puts them on the wrong road. And I'm
well, then it's telling naughty boys that they've got a naughty button, right? They might not. Now they've got this thing they can do that's going to cause a big reaction.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we look for a label for everything now. There's a label for everything, which means no one takes responsibility. Well, I'll give you a few labels that maybe we really need to introduce again. Naughty, lazy, disruptive. Those labels, no one likes to talk about anymore. Well, they certainly do in my schools, and good teachers do it, and most parents understand it. But we've got to make sure that these politicians, they're the ones that need the lessons, quite frankly, not the bloody 11-year-old kids. Let's get them in class and ask them how they can justify some of their stupid decisions. And the lack of common sense is appalling. And I'm not talking about just this government. I'm talking about, in my view, the last 20 years of complete inadequacy.
OK, I mean, I'm going to get Trey to step in, but just before I do, I'm going to apologise if anyone was offended with Serge's passionate language there.
So I just want to ask you about the one thing that we hear again, that misogyny is being fuelled by migration. I look at the history of misogyny. I mean, at one point it was literally enshrined in law. I mean, the suffragettes weren't exactly fighting because Abdul was coming across on boats, not giving them the right to vote. I just want to know what you think about that.
Well, it's a factor. You can't deny it. I think I've watched your programme, your channel enough times to know that there is a misrepresentation, with migrant people coming over with different cultures. So all I would say is it doesn't help. It doesn't help to have illegal people coming over here and breaking the law and seemingly being rewarded or not having anything done to it. Once again, they are, whether they like it or not, children are looking at this, they're taking note of this, they see it all, and as a result, they're poor role models. We've got enough poor role models, thank you very much. I prefer they were somewhere else. So I do believe it's a factor, but I don't believe it's the main factor as some politicians would have believed.
Serge, do you think that young people are being radicalised into crazier ideas, whether it's being a misogynist or all sorts of bold political ideas? And do you think they argue back more than they used to? That when they're told no or they're told that's unreasonable, they don't listen?
No, I think we do our kids down. Anyway, you're welcome to come and visit any of my schools. You know, kids are great. Give them a chance, but make sure they're being treated like kids. You know, if they say no, fine, that's detention. You know, like, say it again. You're going to get a Saturday morning detention. They'll get the message pretty quickly. You know, the idea, the thing that does worry me, which I don't know whether you're alluding to, is ideas being put in their heads. We can talk about the trans argument if you want. Again, I've got loads of experiences of children who never thought about certain things. So adults have put ideas into their heads, and then it becomes a problem. I can think of a clear example of self-harming, for instance, where I dropped the ball and there was a girl self-harming, and I allowed, stupidly, it was about 15 years ago, a self-harming group to take place. Within 3 weeks, I had 6 kids self-harming. Yeah. I learned an awful lot about that, and there's a bit too much of that going on. Adults need to have more responsibility. If they've got an axe to grind, fine, you do it yourself, but stay away from kids who are going to start listening and being influenced by it.
I think that's so interesting, Serge, the whole contagion thing. So thank you for raising it at the end. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's been really interesting listening to you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Take care. Very interesting.
Teacher of the year for me. Nice to hear some good old school values for a change.
Great. Yeah. Anyway, guys, coming up after that serious conversation, guess who has a #1 Christmas song in the UK?
Is it one of us?
No, it wasn't one of us.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
If you're heading off over the Christmas holidays, I'm afraid the weather across much of Europe is very unsettled. Heavy rain and also some thunderstorms, very unusual for this time of the year. In particular, southern parts of France, also southern areas of Italy are going to see quite a lot of rainfall over the coming days. This quite heavy at times, bringing in some hail and thunder and possibly some strong gusty winds. Heading into next week, there will still be some spells of rain, but plenty of sunshine across Tenerife with temperatures in the low 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. We're looking ahead towards Christmas. For most of us, it's going to start off rather cloudy early next week, but as we head towards Christmas itself, it is set to turn much colder across the UK. So as we finish off Saturday, we have this weather front out towards the west. That's going to bring in some rain across western areas. As that continues to track its way northeastwards during the course of the night, it does weaken a little bit and generally is going to leave a lot of cloud and murk, especially across more eastern parts of the country. It does turn clearer down towards the far southwest and actually northwestern Scotland also hanging on to some clear skies. So here it will turn chilly overnight, but for most under the cloud, temperatures not falling much lower than 5 to 6 degrees. So we start off in the north on Sunday with some sunshine for western Scotland, but eastern Scotland seeing some showery outbreaks of rain. Maybe some more persistent rain for southwestern Scotland and also northern England. But for Northern Ireland, actually, apart from a few showers, some sunshine here and also some sunshine for western Wales, Devon and Somerset too. But for the rest of England, it is going to be a rather grey and murky picture, and actually it's going to remain that way for some eastern and central parts right throughout the course of the day. Some heavier rain also developing as the day goes on for Devon and Cornwall. But for most of us, actually, temperatures still average or potentially above average in places, but I think it will feel a little bit disappointing over towards the east under the thickest cloud. But yes, you can see temperatures in the south reaching 10 to 11 degrees. So looking ahead to Monday, again, lots of cloud around, maybe a spell of more persistent rain for a time for Scotland and Northern Ireland, maybe some sunshine for a time down towards the south, but I think further cloud will begin to move up during the course of the day. Wind still coming up from the south at this stage, so still fairly mild, but note the temperatures beginning to fall away as we head towards Christmas Eve for most of us, and that cold theme continues on Christmas Day.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Goodness, keeping this lot under control in the break is nearly impossible. But it's now time for High Fives, where we discuss our favourite moments from the past week. And in this political world, that can sometimes be a hard task. So I'm going to start with you, Will. Did you find anything?
I did. It was very easy for me, Renee. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've said on this show, I promised I wouldn't gloat.
So don't.
But I cannot resist. There has been a great Australian victory in the last week against tremendous odds. Yes, that's right. Kylie Minogue has topped the Christmas charts. She has the #1 song in the Christmas charts this year. I believe it is called Xmas, pronounced Xmas, not Christmas, which is funky and hip from the ever-young 57-year-old Kylie Minogue. It is wonderful to see that great Australian export is still at the top of her game. Give the song a listen. It is an absolute cracker.
It is good. I love Kylie as a self-regarding homosexual. I don't know what your excuse is, but you know, also, Kylie's got the #1 here, so she's the only artist to have had a #1 single in 4 decades, a #1 album in 5 consecutive decades, because her first was at the very end of the 70s.
What a girl.
But good news for Brits, the US Christmas #1...
Into the 70s?
...is Wham!
Oh.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh. What song?
Last Christmas.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, I'm a huge Kylie fan, so I'm actually glad. I used to fancy her when I was young. I think everyone that watched Neighbours probably did at some point.
Well, she's one of those cultural exports where she's now actually more popular in this country than she's in Australia.
Yeah. She's a survivor
and she
too.
Has had some
she's
great
breast
tracks.
cancer. I have utmost respect for her. I really do. Good for her. So I don't have a clip for you this week, but I was absolutely taken with this story. So a woman she had a date. She fancied something to eat. Obviously, it wasn't a very good date. She bought herself a Burger King, got onto her train, and this guy started talking to her. And he said, "Where have you been? And should I have been on a date?" He said it obviously wasn't a very good date because you're now eating a Burger King. And they had a really good chat. And she then got off the train and thought, "I've just said goodbye to a really nice man that I'm never going to meet." But she did meet him again. And a year later, on that same train, he proposed to her. And I loved that story.
What a brave man to speak to a woman in public.
Yeah.
Good on him. Well done.
I love that story. Will, maybe you ought to start walking up and down train garages.
Yeah, that could go either way. It is nice, though, in the age where, you know, these dating apps are just more and more becoming a part of how you meet people, that those sorts of serendipitous events are still a thing. That is nice to hear.
And what does it show us? People should go to work. Because that's where you're going to meet your partner.
You know what's sad, though? What you said is actually telling. What a brave man. It's going to happen less and less and less.
Of course, I'm totally
it's so
serious.
sad. Yeah, exactly.
Look, Me Too did a lot of good, you have to say that, but it also did a lot of harm.
I don't think it's just a dating thing. I think in general, especially people younger than us, everyone has grown up in their phone in a virtual world, and do they have the capacity to actually hold a conversation to interest a stranger in the first place? I'm a walking miracle.
Add COVID into the mix.
Cressida, what have you got for us?
I've got the story of Chorley FC in Lancashire. It's a football club who last year opened their doors, not for a football match, just on Christmas Day. They opened their doors and had people come in for a kind of social event. They had 70 people attend.
I love that.
And lots of people said they wouldn't have seen anybody on Christmas Day if they hadn't gone to the football club. So they're doing it again this year, and it's going to be bigger and better. It's open from 12 until 4, which is perfect. Imagine if you could just go to your own family just between 12 and 4. That's not right, isn't it? If anybody gets too drunk, you get to the other people's families anyway. So how nice is that people can
I think that's lovely, and I think there's a lot of lonely people in this world.
Yes.
So anything that brings people together,
Absolutely.
I think, is a really good thing. I like that, Cressida.
Yeah, nice.
I think it's brilliant. You're right. There's a lot of. I used to do Meals on Wheels back in the days. God, I can't remember how old
Meals on
I was.
Wheels.
But the amount of old people that were very, very, very lonely, like literally no one was around them. So you imagine what Christmas is like.
And so I think it's something like 2 million over 50s, Benjamin, do not speak to another human being in 7 days.
That's
terrible.
That's why you do this show, so that you...
Oh, my God. Trey didn't think I was over 50 last week. He was being kind.
No,
Trey, what have you got for us?
So everyone knows that I am an absolute royalist. I think the royal family are absolutely brilliant. And so what I've got this week is William and Catherine have released their annual Christmas card with their family, and I think it's absolutely lovely. Have we got a visual?
Very festive,
especially considering what's gone on this year and what she's had to go through as well. I think it's lovely. I know people look at them and think they're just a privileged family, but I think they are the best representation of this country that you could possibly get, and all power to them.
It's a nice pic, and it's authentic, and it compares very favourably with the dross that Harry and Meghan put out this week in the most staged, inauthentic Christmas card I think I've ever seen.
What are you talking about? She's got her own authentic self.
That's right. Sorry, I take
How
that.
dare you?
Yeah, it's her truth.
It's her truth.
It's her truth.
Honestly, I just think it could have been a little bit more festive, to be honest with you.
It was taken actually in April.
Yeah,
June, daffodils.
Exactly.
You make such a good point though, because you don't know what's going on in somebody's life, do you? Like Kylie had cancer. You know, even though you think of her as a privileged person.
I mean, I'm just glad they didn't Photoshop this particular picture, because they'd had a kind of a controversy with that.
She was very unwell.
Right. It's nice to have a... I doubt she was doing the Photoshop.
No.
I mean, it's probably touched up, don't get me wrong. I mean, who doesn't touch their photos nowadays?
And Prince George, of course, was feeding the homeless today, which was very nice to see.
And he was probably dying inside because he's such a shy child.
You think?
With the cameras there, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Benjamin?
My story... Well, the biggest thing that happened to me in the last week was to me and not the country. But I went to South Sudan. I think we've got some videos here where I went with the Mundari tribe, which is a rural tribe in Africa. This is just incredible. So they're animists, they're nomadic, and they have the most extraordinary culture. Not maybe one we should import, but they do. And they wash in the urine of cows. So that's what we did in the morning. They cover themselves in dried cow dung as a sort of SPF and to keep away the flies. And I was here with these people. It's completely extraordinary. There I am. So they put their hands above their head like the cow horns to pose for cameras. This tribe is so fascinating and extraordinary that when you took photographs on my phone or on a proper camera, they were desperate to see because they don't have access to mirrors and they certainly don't have access to technology. And it's a real reminder they couldn't have been nicer and more welcoming, that there is just so many worlds out there.
Do they eat the cows or do they just take milk from them?
They just take milk from them. They're animists. I mean, some of them are, some of them aren't. But Jim, it's actually quite nerve-wracking because you've got all these enormous horns on the bulls, and there was over 1,000 cows there. So it was really quite incredible. And you know, there's the pictures of it. It was like being in a mystical other world. And I've shared some of it on Instagram.
Do they move around?
So they're nomadic, yes. They keep migrating. There's about 200,000 people in South Sudan. It's the poorest country in the world. It's the youngest country in the world. It's the tallest country in the world. So I think when they saw me, they must have been like, who's these sort of short white people turning up?
I must admit, when I saw your photos this week, I was very, very jealous.
Yeah.
I don't feel jealous about the urine. Have you already covered this? Why?
I've missed the best part. They blow into the cow's vagina to stimulate the milk production. Now,
anyone eating their dinner, I apologise.
Yeah, or having a glass of milk.
Why do they wash in it?
Well, I mean, it doesn't work, first of all. I asked ChatGPT, is a form of animal abuse, shock horror, but they believe that the cow gets thrilled by it and it makes them produce the milk, and therefore it's good for the tribe. I don't know whether the cow is happy or unhappy about it.
Who are we to criticise
Exactly. You know what I think?
I mean, I didn't partake. I don't want to reveal too much. It's not really my thing.
Much happier than us with all our technology and all the rest of it. I don't think they ever deal with loneliness. I don't think they deal with greed. I think they are there for each other.
They really were
never
happy.
Look at them like they're sort of less than. I think they know more than what we do.
That doesn't mean that they don't have worse hygiene standards than us, Trav.
I don't think they care. And I think what you said earlier, Dr. Renee, is true. I think they're less likely to get cancer because they're actually living at one with nature. All the rest of our fancy technology, the rest of us, my God.
I mean, they were really healthy and they were definitely happy. You know, you can learn something from everyone, and they had a sense of community.
Exactly.
That I think many of us would.
Do you know what? I'm going to say it's rare. Thank you for sharing that with us, because I think it is amazing. Anyway, coming up, we have more triggered tantrums. Favourite part of the week, triggered tantrums. And Will's got quite a good one, haven't you?
Very much so.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This Christmas, we're inviting you to join the GB News family for an occasion filled with joy. A chance to come together and lift our voices and celebrate what truly brings us closer at this time of year. So whether you're with friends or family or simply in the spirits of the season, we would love to share this special night of carols with you. Carols by candlelight, Christmas Eve at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Welcome back, everybody. So this is our favourite part of the show now. We've got our remaining triggered tantrums, and I'm just going to let Cressida take it away.
This is a clip of a lady who's got some concerns about the way we discuss the effects of COVID.
We're going to stop using the word COVID brain. That is intellectual supremacy, superiority towards intellectually disabled folks. We celebrate all body brains, so that means that folks who are intellectually disabled are often experience the most ableist hate and abuse, specifically Black, Indigenous, intellectually disabled kids due to how structural ableism, intellectual supremacy, white supremacy experiences in our society.
I don't know where to start with that. I mean, I could happily start with the mask or the muzzle or what. I mean, what was that on?
I mean, that's mental health at work, and that's what we managed to expose in a major way during COVID.
Yeah.
Because people like this came to the top, and sadly, they're still around. I saw a guy today at lunch wearing a mask here, and he was eating his lunch by pulling it down, shoveling in a bit of food, putting it back under his nose, and I wanted to go up and congratulate him for such just an
Also a great example of the omni-cause. The omni-cause is one of my favourite words, and it refers to the modern left's tendency just to latch on to the next minority group or the next identity politics issue. I think she got about 4 or 5 of them in there under the mask at the end there.
No, I agree. It's not often I agree with Will, but I sometimes hate it when they always sort of use a black person to show the lowest of the low of society.
Trey, whenever you...
It's insulting a little bit. They don't realise they're doing that, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I do agree with you, Will. That's why I always say it.
Trey, whenever you do agree with me, though, you don't always have to preface it with "I don't normally agree with Will."
I have to though, because often I will clash. But I find it insulting though. Like let's throw in the black thing because blacks are at the bottom and they're the most stupid people. So let's put them there as an example of how much I care. And it has the opposite effect for me.
Ableist is a good word, isn't it? That's used a lot when they're trying to insult people.
Well, for balance, I think she's an oracle of wisdom. We should all follow her. Or them. Sorry, I don't know.
And don a mask.
Yes, I think.
Yeah, one that we've made at home.
It's a great
That's absolutely sweet. Fanny Adams.
She's got a Second World War gas mask and then kind of adapted it. It was extraordinary.
This is what COVID has done to people, and it still lingers on. People were lapping up the whole flu thing that's now fizzled out. It isn't going to be the worst flu season ever.
I was in China in October, and actually, even there, it was pretty rare to see someone wearing a mask.
Really?
So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, which surprised me because I thought it was a sort of deeper cultural thing there, but no, it was pretty unusual.
Yeah. Will?
More trans lunacy. This trans activist gained some notoriety for getting a supposedly transphobic Christmas card taken off Sainsbury's shelves. The bloke's back at it. Let's have a look.
After this protest, I'm going to use a women's toilet. Then I'm going to use another women's toilet. You, J.K. Rowling, you'll never stop me from peeing. The only person in is you. So we should all take a on you.
Oh, sounds like some of the hygiene habits from that South Sudanese tribe, doesn't it?
But also, it demonstrates again the theme that we have seen running from this show, that these are misogynists who hate women, want to shout at women, and this is just another example. Look how aggressive he was.
I wonder what this is going to do for Sainsbury's, this incident. I mean, if you haven't seen the card, it's a Grinch saying, I identify as a Brussels sprout.
And 10 years ago, that would have been fine.
Well, it wouldn't have made sense 10 years ago, but now it makes sense, and apparently it's too offensive. And of course, Sainsbury's have earned this because they've for years had pride flags as if to say you can't buy your tea bags anywhere else if you're gay, you have to come here, which never made any sense to me. So this is like they've kind of earned it.
But haven't they learned by now that rule number 1 is don't give in to the loony minority because there will be a backlash from the majority? Like, this is the Bud Light effect writ large.
Well, we'll see, won't we? I imagine that might happen.
What are you going to do, Benjamin? Are you going to buy your Christmas cards from Sainsbury's now that they've supported your clan?
Well, if you're buying your Christmas cards on the 20th of December, then you've made a mistake in the first place. So I've already bought them. I can't remember where I got them.
Where's mine?
Actually, I think it was Sainsbury's. Yeah, it was a local Sainsbury's I got them from. I didn't notice the offensive one. I am willing to be offended when I spot it. But I'll go in tomorrow.
You won't, not now.
But no, I don't identify as the Grinch or Brussels sprouts.
Well, you're not green, so that's probably why.
Green with envy.
I mean, honestly, do you not feel it's silly, though? Do you not think these people are being silly? They're having these protests outside Parliament.
I think getting wound up about a joke on a Christmas card, you have to wonder who is facing the greater problem from being wound up, and I would suggest it's the people that are on the protest causing themselves a lot of stress that they may be not worth it.
Well, on those words of wisdom from Benjamin Butterworth, who has held himself up well this evening, thank you to all of our guests, to you, our lovely audience, for joining in the fun tonight. I know that next up we have the amazing Alex Armstrong, who's got a cracking show for you. Alex, what have you got for us?
Thank you, Dr. Renee. Brilliant show, brilliant show. Listen, Kemi Badenoch's disappointed me. She's upset me. and I'm going to have to hold her to account on not ensuring that Tories are, well, the councils up and down the country that are due for election will be going ahead. She's decided that that's not going to be the case, despite calling it scandalous and other things. I think there's a bit of cowardice there. David Lammy is also putting forward some chilling reforms to the justice system that will affect your right to appeal. I'll be digging into that with my brilliant panel tonight, and EU students as well, costing us billions of pounds in debt. Loads more coming up on the show. Stay with me.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. We're looking ahead towards Christmas. For most of us, it's going to start off rather cloudy early next week, but as we head towards Christmas itself, it's set to turn much colder across the UK. So as we finish off Saturday, we have this weather front out towards the west. That's going to bring in some rain across western areas. As that continues to track its way northeastwards during the course of the night, it does weaken a little bit, and generally it's going to leave a lot of cloud and murk, especially across more eastern parts of the country. It does turn clearer down towards the far southwest, and actually northwestern Scotland also hanging on to some clear skies. So here it will turn chilly overnight, but for most under the cloud, temperatures not falling much lower than 5 to 6 degrees. So we start off in the north on Sunday with some sunshine for western Scotland, but eastern Scotland seeing some showery outbreaks of rain. Maybe some more persistent rain for southwestern Scotland and also northern England. But for Northern Ireland, actually, apart from a few showers, some sunshine here and also some sunshine for western Wales, Devon and Somerset too. But for the rest of England, it is going to be a rather grey and murky picture, and actually it's going to remain that way for some eastern and central parts right throughout the course of the day. Some heavier rain also developing as the day goes on for Devon and Cornwall. But for most of us, actually, temperatures still average or potentially above average in places, but I think it will feel a little bit disappointing over towards the east under the thickest cloud. But yes, you can see temperatures in the south reaching 10 to 11 degrees. So looking ahead to Monday, again, lots of cloud around, maybe a spell of more persistent rain for a time for Scotland and Northern Ireland, maybe some sunshine for a time down towards the south, but I think further cloud will begin to move up during the course of the day. Wind still coming up from the south at this stage, so still fairly mild, but note the temperatures beginning to fall away as we head towards Christmas Eve for most of us, and that cold theme continues on Christmas Day.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
This Christmas, we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize of the year.
An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
And we've come to the fabulously festive Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate. £85,000 of tax-free cash really could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only.